Hey guys, and welcome to PAXP episode 2. You got your host here, Victor,
Roman,
and we're going to be having a deep discussion about what we like about games.
and John.
Oh,
and freaking John.
Speak up next time, John. God.
Yeah.
All right, well, here we go.
Okay, so this is the season for the typical best of, worst of list. We're doing just a best of list of games we played in 2017. That's the important distinction there. It's not just games that came out in 2017, but games that we actually played in 2017. And also we're going to talk about upcoming games, the ones we're looking forward to most. As far as games that I've enjoyed the most in 2017, the list starts off with Zelda. And it might as well end there because Zelda was amazing. Victor hasn't played Zelda yet?
No, I would like to. I would very much like to, but...
You should. I have. I've spent a lot of time with it. And Victor, did I ever tell you about how I got my Nintendo Switch?
You may have. I can't remember, though.
So, I had to go through some back channels.
Because this was kind of when it was first released.
It's pretty close to its initial release. You couldn't get them anywhere unless you wanted to pay $800 for them, which I didn't want to do, right? And who wants to pay $800 for a video game system that costs like $3? I had to talk to my girlfriend and talk her into talking to her best friend, who happened to be, and I can't give out too many specifics because I don't want anybody getting in trouble, but let's just say she worked in the medical field, where one of her patients was a person that worked at Nintendo. I had to get my girlfriend to talk to her best friend, who then would talk to this guy, who then would either agree or disagree. But here's the thing. So most of these deals go when you want to buy something. You just maybe you'd hand over the money to your girlfriend. She'd hand it over to her best friend. The best friend would get the system from him. And then she would give it to my girlfriend, and she would give it back to me. So it would be pretty clean in the sense that I wouldn't have to do anything except for give her some cash over. In this case, this guy says, "Of course, I would love to help, but I want to meet this person in person. I want to actually hand it off to him because I want to see what caliber person he is."
So he actually met you in person.
So I had to drive down there, and I had to talk to this guy, and we had to have like a one-on-one discussion, and I had to convince him how much I loved games, and I wouldn't go just around reselling this thing right after I got it.
Oh, he thought you were maybe potentially a scalper.
Yeah, I basically had to have a freaking interview to buy a game console.
A working interview. Wow. Well, at least he, I would probably feel the same way. Like, I'm not gonna buy this guy. I'm not gonna hook this guy up just so he can resell it, make some money, because you probably could have.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
So and he personally did it, so he was like involved. So he wanted to make sure it would go through well.
Yeah.
That's quite the story, though. It's like CIA type stuff. Like, hey, I want to meet you by handing it off to nobody else.
Exactly. It's just like that. It's really weird. But I mean, yeah, it's for a good cause, I guess, whatever his cause may have been. And I ended up with the system, and I ended up with Zelda, which was so incredible. And if anybody hasn't played Zelda out there yet, which I'm betting there's probably a lot of people out there that haven't. I know John has, and John has some very strong opinions on it. There's some things he liked, some things he didn't. Most of it he liked because, honestly, it's really the only game out for the Switch, so how can you not like it? I'll start off with this. What I really loved about the game is a sense of exploration. And I remember reading some reviews, maybe it was right after I got the game or before I got the game, but the review is a very short quote that stuck with me about this game. And what the reviewer said was, in describing Zelda, was that Zelda is like when you're a child and you're in your backyard of your house and you grab a stick and you start playing it, and your imagination just kind of takes hold, and you pretend to slay monsters and sneak around places, and maybe you got your buddies there and they're pretending to be something else, and you build up this grand adventure in your mind. And that's what playing Zelda is like. It's basically your childhood dreams realized on a TV screen. And I'm not overselling this game by any sense. This is exactly how it is. Like,
that's exactly how I felt when I played Zelda when it came out on 64.
Ocarina of Time?
Ocarina of Time. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, oh my god. Like, yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, I would say since Ocarina of Time, and I loved Ocarina of Time. I adored that game. But since that game, I would say, for me personally, Zelda has dwindled away game by game to where the last I think 2 I didn't even play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is the best game, the best Zelda game since Ocarina of Time. And not only that, it is, I would say, the best Zelda game, period. And it's because, like, one, there's a sense of exploration, there's a sense of discovery, um, and and a sense of openness that I don't think you get in any other game, where you could after you finish there's this one, when you first start off, there's this one area that you kind of go through,
Mm-hmm.
but after you finish that one area, you could literally go anywhere you want in the entire game, anywhere, any direction. You just
Wow.
start a path and you go.
How big is the map? Would you
Oh
say?
my goodness, it is massive. It's, if you were to walk side to side, I bet it would take several hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, and some things, though, even with how much I love the game, some things didn't stick with me too well, and I think the two things that pop up, I'd say there's three things that I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
about the game. One is that if you're someone like me who's played games for your entire life, it's pretty easy to figure out what you need to do. But if you're someone that's a little bit newer to the games or new to open world games, the game gives you very little direction. And some of the main quests seem kind of like side quests. You're not really sure what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one gripe I have with the game, is that if you're someone new, so like with my girlfriend, if she was gonna play that, I know she's not like a big time gamer, but if she was gonna play that, I don't know if she'd enjoy it too much, just because the direction isn't really there. The other thing is the voice acting. It's 2017, right? And there is some voice acting, but there's so little of it. It's kind of crazy. Almost everybody up there just makes a little noise or whatever, right?
Oh,
and that's
like
about
no
it.
speech,
Yeah,
no
and you get,
dialogue.
yeah, exactly. There's very, very little speech, and you get like a little dialogue box, and you have to read and read and read, especially with like longer conversations. It becomes a pain in the ass. Like, I don't want to sit there and feel like I'm reading a book.
Yeah.
And I think the last two things I didn't like about it, one was that there were no how do I put this? Traditional dungeons.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was a little disappointed. But well, I heard that but there's very few, and there's like a handful of dungeons, but then there's smaller like caves.
So
Is that what you mean?
there are a ton of smaller caves,
Yeah.
but each of these caves, some of them could be done in a couple of minutes, some could be maybe like 15 minutes, but each one's really, really small. It's just, imagine a couple of rooms, and you solve a puzzle in a couple of rooms. That's about it. For the bigger dungeons, there's 3, but not one of those felt like an actual Zelda dungeon. You imagine there's a robot. You go inside of this robot.
Mm-hmm.
You tinker with this machinery, and then you fight the boss, and that's it. And the last and final thing I didn't like about this game was that, to me, in the past and always, Zelda has felt like a fantasy game. Like you're like in the olden days doing this fantasy stuff. In this new one, it's almost science fiction-y, where there's constant references to what they called like older technology that was much more advanced than they were. There's the iPad the hero has on him at all times, and it's basically like your way to the map to upgrade skills. There's a camera system where you take pictures of stuff. Like, it doesn't feel like the old Zelda in that traditional way. And so that's another thing I didn't like about Zelda. The next 2 games that I have that I really, really enjoyed in 2017 were Forza, which I know Forza Horizon 3 came out in 2016, but man, that game is really fun. I don't like it as much as Motorsport, but still a total blast, and it's so freaking pretty to play.
Which one?
Forza Horizon 3. It's like the arcadey version of Forza.
Oh, right, okay.
So whereas Motorsport's like pure sim, right?
Yeah.
And Forza Horizon 3 is more like kind of arcadey. It's open world, and you can drive around all over Australia. So that was a really fun game. Not as fun as 2. I know a lot of people disagree with me, especially the reviewers, but I thought Forza 2 was the high point. Forza Horizon 2. And the final game was Ghost Recon, which we've spent so much time playing.
Oh yeah, Ghost Recon is
It's awesome, right? It's awesome to a point.
Yeah, like if I were playing it by myself, it would probably not be so awesome, and I probably would have gotten tired of it a long time ago. Only because I would play that game a single certain style, but playing with you, our styles are slightly different, so it makes us playing the game together much different than it would be if I were doing it by myself, obviously.
Yeah.
And but it's turning out to be a very fun co-op game.
Yeah, but even with that, I would say I'm actually starting to get a little bored of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that way or not?
Well, I think that it's a very long game for what it's
Oh my
offering.
God, we're not even
Like,
halfway done.
we're not even halfway done, and I feel like we've already done everything we could do. And at this point, we're just kind of grinding for nothing, really. We're just grinding for the next weapon case or something, which is kind of disappointing because it's like you'll get 3 buttstocks out of every magazine, and then you might get a rifle or something.
So, do you know how the game works, Victor?
No, what do you mean?
So as far as like the completion from start to finish, like how do you actually beat the game? Like what the progression goes?
Well, I assume you take each cartel boss out one by one till you get to the main one, right?
Yeah. So basically, there's the one main boss, right, which is El Sueño.
Yeah.
And which I think my girlfriend translated for me. It means the dreamer or dream.
El Sueño. I thought it meant the sleeper.
Well, whatever. Anyway, terrible name. Regardless.
And the guy's voice voice character that plays El Sueño is totally not even matched for him. He sounds so awkward.
He looks like a biker. He looks like a dirty biker.
Yeah. And then the voice doesn't match. So he's like, yeah, it's not a very good character, I don't think. But anyway,
so there's him, right? And that's your ultimate goal is to take down El Sueño. But to get to him, you have to take down 4 sub-bosses. Now, we've probably spent, I would guess, at least 30 hours in this game right now. Right?
Yeah, I would say that's
of those 4 sub-bosses, we have taken down 0. So that's how much more we have to go through.
Oh, man. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, when are we going to get to the sub-boss?
Right? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, I don't think, I doubt that we would ever, I don't know if we'll even ever get halfway through the game.
They should have got rid of the guys that support the sub-boss. Like, just have several missions.
Yeah, because
like a handful of hard missions to get to the sub-boss and then get to El Sueño. That would probably cut the game in half and make it fun because you're, like we say, it's just grinding at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, because what happens is, like, we're stuck in a virtual world where you're kind of doing the same thing again and again. We've had, now, I remember we were playing one area of the map where we were supposed to take down his distribution. And to take down his distribution, you do a mission where you destroy a sub. Guess what the next mission is? To take down a sub. The mission after that? To take down a sub. The mission after that? To take down a sub. And literally 5 of these missions till you get the final boss. Or sub-boss.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And each of these, and there's I can't even tell you how many sub-bosses there are. That's what's freaking crazy about it. The game just lasts forever. And it probably is because of this new gaming model, the Destiny model, right? Where Activision is going, right? Because they've said that out, on paper. They put that down on paper. EA now closing down Visceral are saying that. Have you heard about this, by the way?
I heard something vaguely about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Visceral, which was responsible for Battlefield Hardlines, the worst Battlefield game, but still a fun Battlefield game.
Yeah. The fun but worst.
Yeah, they're responsible for what's that horror game? Dead Space, the Dead Space series.
Yeah.
Right. They've done some very good single player portions, and I think I don't know if they're responsible if they did the Hardlines multiplayer or not, but we know they're very good for single player. They were working on a huge Star Wars game that was single player, and I saw some early screenshots. It looked stunning, and they spent I think 3 years working on it now.
Mm-hmm.
EA has just shut them down.
For which game are you saying about?
Is a new Star Wars game. I don't know if they had a title or not. But it's a single player Star Wars game, and EA shut them down. They said that it's because the game was a linear story game, which is exactly what they were making. Mm-hmm. And EA is moving into this whole like video games as a service rather than just a game that you play once, right? So these major studios are moving away from the games that we know, like Uncharted, right? Games like
Tomb Raider,
Witcher, Tomb Raider,
yeah.
And they're moving them more towards that Destiny model because that Destiny model allows people to not only buy the game, but then keep buying things to keep playing it. So it's a
It's
constant
like a
stream.
subscription.
Yeah,
They want you to basically do a subscription of their game.
without the subscription.
And
Well, actually, in some cases there is.
Well, it's like each game. It's like Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 are the subscription, and the DLC between them are like
The subscription.
the content you get. The content you get for paying the subscription, but yet you pay for that as well.
Yeah, you just gotta
You know
pay
what I'm saying?
pay.
You pay $60 for access, and then once you have the access, you can pay more for the DLC. And so I can see, like, that's what I dislike about gaming: the microtransactions, the breaking the game up to, force the player to continue playing it to feel any sense of enjoyment. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, games have become more expensive to make, but I don't know. How do we proceed forward? Do we just keep doing the same thing, or anyway? Those are my. And don't get me wrong, I love Ghost Recon. I still like it a lot. I'm getting a little bored, but like I said, we probably got like at least 30 hours out of it, which is really freaking good for a game.
Yeah.
So
we'd have probably another, I say,
90
60,
hours.
70 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we're getting better and we can do it faster, but.
Are you kidding me with how much we die? Every mission we do.
Don't lie. What are you talking about? We kill it. We're the best gamers ever.
So we every time we go into a place, we always, especially when we're in a helicopter, right? We contemplate, should we jump in? And the answer, like in a parachute, right? And the answer is always yes, unanimously, every single time. And every single time, out of all those times that we've jumped in, how many times have we actually succeeded on taking down the mission? I can tell you. Once last night. Once last night. That's it.
We went in and it was
It was awesome. Yeah, out of 30 hours of doing this, we did it once last night. It felt great.
Well, it's like an art, dude. You have to perfect it.
Yeah, and I bet you'll never get it again.
No, because we tried immediately after that and failed.
What are your top 2017 games that you played, not necessarily released in 2017?
So
actually, before you, let's go to John. John, I know that Nintendo hasn't really had too many games in 2017. I mean, they had one, but what are your top 3 out of that one? Okay, you just keep looking at me like that.
So, yeah, I like those games as well. Those are awesome.
John, he's the worst. You are the worst co-host, John. Why don't you ever speak up?
So the top 3 that I played here in 2017. The most recent would have to be Horizon Zero Dawn. That's the PlayStation exclusive, and I just fell in love with that game immediately. I mean, when I saw it released, I can tell that I would enjoy it, but you don't really know till you play a game. Obviously, I mean, there's some games that can kind of disappoint you, like games we played before, Battlefield and so on. But when I played Horizon, it's just a very beautiful game, very well written story. And it's not too overpowering. There's not a lot of cinematics, and it just gives you a good pace of gameplay. I would say it's very similar in gameplay style to like Witcher. Obviously, different art style, different.
Which was
amazing.
Mechanics. Witcher was
Witcher was the best games, and Witcher is probably my favorite game of 2017. But
wait, 2017.
I mean,
2016.
Of this generation.
I would agree with that. It's definitely in my top 3.
Yeah, but Horizon is just as beautiful, I think, in its own respect. And I liked how they incorporated the the AI enemies was like this robotic AI form that just formed from natural resources from the earth, left over from just like decrepit cities that I guess just deteriorated or whatever. But it was
why they form into dinosaurs?
Well, it wasn't necessarily dinosaurs. Some of them resembled dinosaurs, but
they look just like dinosaurs.
There was some that looked like deer, some that looked like alligators. I mean, I guess an alligator is a prehistoric animal, whatever. But I mean, there was some that did resemble dinosaurs.
Dude, you want to know a fun fact about alligators?
What?
Or maybe it's crocodiles. Maybe both. But an alligator or a crocodile can grow to infinite length given time and food supply. So if it has enough to eat.
Really?
And enough time to keep growing without being killed or anything else, it can grow to infinite length. There is no stopping
it.
In fact, there's stories in Egypt, in the Nile, of like recent stories of having these monster alligators that are like bigger than any car or bigger than any van.
That's amazing.
Crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Like, think about that. Like, can
Fun
you,
fact.
yeah. Thanks for joining us. And that's the end. No.
Anyway.
Wait, so can I comment?
That is crazy though. Infinite length, huh? Well, it's like a turtle.
They just keep growing.
Yeah, it's like when you have a pet turtle. They say the turtle will only grow to the size of the enclosure, the terrarium.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my
I didn't
sister,
know
when
that.
she had turtles, they were small, and then she got a bigger one. They would grow bigger. I think a lot of domesticated pet turtles are like that.
Weird. Huh. Interesting. So can I comment on Horizon, what's it called?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Can you actually,
Leave it
before
to
I even
the
comment,
Xbox
can you
guy.
explain the title to me? What is a Horizon Zero Dawn?
Horizon Zero Dawn. So on the horizon, there's never a dawn.
So is this a game just about
Zero.
nighttime? The whole game just takes place at night?
Well, no, there's daytime. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Horizon
Horizon
Zero
Zero
Dawn.
Dawn. We would have to decipher that. Yeah, that would take some theory.
We're gonna take the rest of this episode, the 1 hour, to decipher the title of
contemplate
Horizon.
what Horizon Zero Dawn means.
Like, what the hell? Or is it Horizon Zero? There's no Horizon, but it's a new dawn.
No,
Is there a
No.
a slash or anything?
no.
No. What the heck?
They got to
does
be
it mean?
unique. You know, it's got to be catchy.
God.
Horizon
Catchy, I couldn't even remember it.
Dawn.
If they wanted to be catchy, they would call it Squat. Or something. I don't know, something.
Anyway,
Okay,
what were you gonna say though?
Okay, so here's my problem with Horizon Zero Dawn. I never played it. I obviously have a PS4. I love Uncharted. The Uncharted series is incredible, especially Part 4, which is so freaking good. And but I never played Horizon Zero Dawn, and the reason I never played it was because I am not 10 years old. I don't care about robot dinosaurs. I just don't. Like, I
They're
feel
not
like
robot, but dude,
they are totally robot
if you
dinosaurs.
play the game though, dude, it's like it's very intense. It's not childish. That's the thing. Like the AI you're fighting is not like just some like little dinosaur that's just gonna sit there. I mean, I don't know. It's a very challenging game.
Did you ever hear? Here's what I bet.
And you felt the same way about The Order. You're like, oh, I never played. And then you play. You're like, dude, I really enjoyed it.
For a different
And,
reason.
and then there was
For a very
another,
different
but you
reason.
still enjoyed it. And then there was, I mean, there was several games that you played.
Ghost
that I
Recon that I never
Yeah.
wanted to play.
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal
I
Gear
also never wanted
Solid.
to play.
Yeah, and then you
No,
enjoyed
5.
it.
Just 5 though, because I like the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
But so I bet you that I shouldn't say I bet you, but I have a feeling that they came up with the theme for Horizon Zero Dawn the same way that the scientist that came up with the term Google, and I don't mean the Google the website, but Googleplex, the number.
Mhm.
I bet you he came up the same way, and that is that when the scientist came up with this giant string of numbers, right, which I think like a 1 with 100 zeros or whatever, or 1,000 zeros, or however many zeros there are behind it. He asked this child, "What should I name this number?" And the kid just said some random gibberish. He goes, "Google," right? And so the scientist named it Google, Googleplex, right? That was the name of the number. I bet you the Horizon. What the hell is it called again?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's so catchy, right? Horizon Zero Dawn came up with the same way, where a developer is like, "Hey kid, what should I make a game?" He's like, "Dinosaurs, robots." The guy's like, "Oh, that's brilliant, dinosaurs and robots," and that's the game. Anyway, sorry, not to take away from your favorite games, but what was what are the next two?
No,
I hope they're better.
I think if you were to play Horizon Zero Dawn, you would enjoy it. I have no doubt. Anyway.
I bet you if I played it, I would enjoy it.
And then, so the second game I played, it actually came out in early 2017, was Quantum Break. I think, or
Such a good
2016.
game.
Yeah, that game was so good. I played that maybe several months ago, so June, July-ish.
Man, that was such a good game.
However, I will disclaimer, I did play it on PC. Yes, I own a PC, and so because I just wanted that extra graphic quality. But it was an amazing game, and I loved it. I enjoyed it, and the cinematics and the story, the video, it was just entertaining. The dialogue between characters was funny and then intense. It was just a very good capturing game, very very immersive, especially what they did with the theatrical cinematics, the real time.
It was so smart. Like, the storyline didn't feel like this cheap little sci-fi thing that you normally see in a video game where a space marine goes to take out space aliens.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was like a very intelligent story, and I don't know. I didn't think it would ever work with the episodes that came with it, the live action episodes. But everything put together so well, and when time stops in the middle of like I remember that bridge with all the explosions happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the probably best things ever, like it's visually the
Oh
best
yeah,
things
yeah,
I've ever
yeah,
seen.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was so cool to look at, just to see like an explosion like halfway, the truck kind of like hurling
Yeah,
over
yeah,
these baggage and some
yeah.
dudes like flying back.
Yeah, and you actually have to cross that bridge before like the time capsule collapses around it, and
Oh
you
my
like
God.
die within the rubble. Dude, that game was very very fun. I mean,
Yeah, that was a good
yeah,
game.
and I mean that game was made by Remedy, which I think made Alan Wake, and
Yeah,
I loved Alan Wake too.
I
Alan Wake
did
was a
not.
very good. You did not? No, I thought you'd never played it.
I actually I didn't play it until recently. It was a free download on the Xbox One.
Uh-huh.
I played it a little bit, and I think I didn't get into it. I think only because of the graphics. Because but this time and oh, she should say graphics and gameplay because since
The gameplay is so fun, dude. You can't say the gameplay.
When did you play it? When was the last time you played it? Was it back when it came out?
Well, I played it shortly after it came out, and then I played it a second time. I
Oh.
think like late 2016.
Okay, so maybe maybe you know what you're talking about then. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
It's just such a fun game,
I
dude.
couldn't get into it.
Oh my
Maybe it was
God.
just the graphics. Maybe it was just the graphics because I played it so long.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, like I can't handle
Yeah.
scary games. I just can't.
Yeah.
Remember when I played Evil Dead? Evil Within? Dude.
Oh, you're such a bitch.
Thank you. I had to get super drunk, and then I would like look up the screen trying to see what was ahead of me.
Well, dude, when you played the game, you played it in the dark. That's how you. When you were streaming it, and I'm like, why are you playing this game in the dark if you're scared of horror games? Like, what the?
Who plays games in the light?
I don't even play games in the dark. Well, no, I mean horror games. I don't even play horror games in the dark.
Yeah, that was too much. Okay, so last game.
And then the last game that I really enjoyed, I've actually played it several times, but I played it again recently, is Rage. And that game...
It was fun. And it was, back when it came out, that game was stunning to look at.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was an amazing game.
Dude, that's an old game.
It is old game, 2011. But it's still so fun. Like, it's obviously a post-apocalyptic wasteland game. You know, you're trying to fight for survival, blah, 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 different factions. You know, not open world, but you can travel in this guided street, deserted type area to different locations. I mean, just a very fun game. First person shooter, very intense, constant action. I mean, I would, you know, this game, if you haven't played it, I'm sure anybody can buy it for very cheap and just check it out.
Yeah. Fun fact about Rage. As far as graphics go, every texture in that game was hand painted. It wasn't like they just went out, took a picture of a rock and put it in there. Everything was hand painted.
Really?
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. And I think that's why it took the game so long to make. For them to make it, because they sat there and they laboriously had to hand paint every freaking texture. And so moving on, the best games, or the games that you're looking forward to most in 2018. I'll start, but I'm gonna exclude Forza because I love Forza.
Talk about it too much?
I talk about it too much. I love Forza, and of course it's gonna come out with it. And this time it's probably gonna be. I don't know what it'll be though. Like, I don't know if they're gonna make a new Horizon or what.
Horizon Zero Dawn 10.
Dude, you know what I thought?
Oh no, Forza Zero Dawn 10.
What? but wrong game.
Yeah, I know, right?
But so I've been thinking about this a while actually. As far as Forza goes, I think Forza needs a third game in its entry, a third series.
What do you mean? Like, aside from Forza and Forza Horizon?
Yeah, so they have Forza Motorsport, right, which is a traditional on-track racer. They have the Horizon, which is open world, unique environment. I think they need a third. This will give the other two games a longer development period, which would be great, I think, and it'll give them more anticipation, more sales. It'll make the games better overall. But I think they should introduce a third game that focuses on rally. So like Forza Dirt or something, right? Where you have the rally championships. It's just still realistic.
That's just a totally different style of driving.
Totally different style.
So it'd be like, yeah.
So it'd be a whole new game. That's it'll feel fresh, and it wouldn't seem like they're just being cheap by making it into a new game. Like it could make a whole new game. And I think one thing I'd really love to see in a Forza game that I haven't seen at all in Forza or many other racing games is I want there to be an actual career where right now the career is basically you start with a Honda Civic or some car of that class. do like 10 races, then you move on to the next car, the next car, the next car, and it gets better, better, better with each car, and that's about it, right? But what I want there is one, I want there to be a I don't know how else to call it, but a nemesis system in Forza where there's this competitive nature with say one or two or three other people, like fake, like computer people in this game, and the career isn't just you racing a Honda Civic to work your way up to a Ferrari. You say maybe you start off in the career, you start off as like a teen racing go-karts, and then you maybe get noticed by somebody else, and you move up to the next like smaller championships, right?
Yeah.
And you work your way up to like Formula 3, and then you work your way up all the way to Formula 1, which is like the premier racing, right?
Oh.
And it'd be cool because one, you'd have an actual story with people,
Yeah.
and two is because you'd have like constantly you'd have these competitors, like your competitors, right?
Yeah.
The one person that's always there with you, like you're trying to always kind of outdo, and he's trying to outdo you. I think that'd be a really great addition to Forza.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I know nothing about the Forza series, but it sounds like it could use it. Whatever.
Yeah. What the hell were we talking
Another
about?
Forza, great.
Oh yeah, sorry, I totally digress. Best games of 2018.
Okay.
So one of the games that I'm looking forward to most, and probably the second most, I'd say. I'll start off there. This is kind of in the middle. It's kind of a weird place to start, but Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5. Yeah.
Talked about it a little bit last time. There's some things I don't like about it, but overall, my God, I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to it. I can't say I'm super excited just because I kind of drew myself away from that series, but hopefully this one will be enjoyable to pull me back in. It looks cool. I mean, I like how it's set in the US, and so it makes it more relatable. People in the game look more detailed, and the environment looks better. I wasn't really attracted to Far Cry 5. I don't know. I thought I would like it.
4 or 5?
4. I thought I would really enjoy it, but I just couldn't get into it. So I'm hoping this new game in the new setting will be more enjoyable, and more familiar guns. Hopefully more modern or whatever. I don't know.
The next game I have, this is the game I'm looking forward to most. Actually, no, I'll save that one for last. Another game I'm looking forward to a lot. It's actually a split, and I can't figure out which one I want to see more. It's Sea of Thieves, and this one I really want to play because I want to play with my girlfriend. I think it'd be a really great.
I thought last week you said like you thought it looked crappy.
It does, but I'm looking forward to it because I want to play with my girlfriend. I think it'd be a really cool game for both of us to jump into.
Yeah. And
just go and like explore the sea, and maybe like I don't know what you do in there, like kill some skeletons and find the treasure, like whatever pirates do.
I saw probably the gameplay trailer or whatever, Sea of Thieves, and it looked pretty cool. I mean, the art style is paint and textures. Yeah. I mean, it looks something like can be like Zelda. I don't know. It looked cool.
Or Fable kind of.
Or Fable.
Because we're seeing people who made Fable.
Oh really?
Right? Isn't it rare?
Oh,
no. Who made Fable? No. It was Lionhead. Lionhead made Fable. Never mind. Yeah. And so that's split between that and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh.
Which again, the only reason it's number 3 is because we don't really know anything about Red Dead Redemption 2 at all. Well, we have 2 cinematic trailers.
Yeah, the 2 cinematic trailers. I mean, yeah, the story looks cool. It looks like it's like the.
What is the story?
Well, from what you see from the video, I don't know. It looks like you might play a member of the gang, the Walton gang, or if I get that correct, the gang that Marston was in, but maybe an earlier time of that. And you're like a.
So you're a bad guy.
A debt collector, I think, maybe, because he's like, and once he's like, "Where's my money?" And I'm just like, "Oh shit, motherfucker wants his money." So I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Steals money.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Red Dead Redemption because I really loved Red Dead Redemption 1, the DLC to that, which was
the zombie one,
the Undead. Wait, was it Undead?
I think it was Undead.
Yeah, that one was. I love that DLC too.
So those are my 2 number 3s, and my number 1, and this is a game I can't wait for because it looks gorgeous. Anthem.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, because dude, when you see that preview at the end of the Xbox show, and that's the best game to finish it with because you see like the character kind of walk through a bazaar or something, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking to some people, and you're like, oh my god, like this looks. And they're talking about how it's real graphics or like real time, and it looks so good. And then all of a sudden the world opens up, and you get these crazy mech suits, and you just fly up like Iron Man, and you fly through this environment, and you fly into some bad guys. You got all these cool. Oh my god!
Yeah, it looked amazing. I saw it, and I can't wait to try it out.
Yeah.
I'll probably get that game on release just with a little bit of that I've seen. Unless I see something further, when if they show some more and then I'm disappointed. But from what I've seen so far, I'll probably get that game on release.
It makes me think of like Star Wars. I don't know why, but it makes me think of Star Wars, but less sci-fi, like more grounded Star Wars.
More grounded Star Wars.
I don't know if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't make sense to me.
Oh yeah.
But,
no, I get it. I think like Star Wars. When I think of Star Wars, I think of like deep space, fucking like
Death Star,
hundreds of thousands of years into sci-fi future type thing.
Yeah.
When I think of Anthem, it's maybe like a couple hundred years into the future. The technology is maybe a little bit primitive, because when you look at the characters of Anthem, they're these big bulky mecha machines that maybe technology is just starting out, a couple hundred years or whatever. So yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's the early stages of sci-fi future rather than later stages of sci-fi future.
What's that, John? Yeah, Mario's gonna be great. Whatever. Anyway,
Mario Odyssey. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, John. That's actually a good suggestion. I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you.
The one other game coming out for Nintendo, Mario Odyssey, and beyond that, we don't have anything else. But those are my top three of 2018.
Yeah.
What about you?
I hear Mario Odyssey will be one of the first sandbox style games since like Mario 64 and
it's sandbox.
The Mario. Yeah, it's a sandbox style, different worlds.
But not open world though.
Open world. Yeah, open world. I don't know how vast, but it claims to be open world sandbox.
I heard it was gonna be mature like The Witcher. No, I'm just kidding.
I saw videos.
It's talking about they cover racism and.
I mean, it looks even more cartoony. Man, I wish somebody would like buy the rights to Mario and make like a dark version of it.
I wish Nintendo would just start making games for other consoles.
Well. Oh yeah, they should. Well, and you hear it. I mean, I don't know if you've heard that Nintendo is trying to attract more mature game developers
I feel like they've been trying to attract those since the GameCube came out.
Yeah, and I don't know why they. I mean, I can see why maybe there isn't a market really for adult gaming in Nintendo.
Because they had a system called the GameCube and it was purple. Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I think I was done.
Top 2018 games.
What?
Top 2018 games.
Oh no, I was talking. Yeah, we were talking about Mario Odyssey. Yeah.
Oh,
anyway, okay. So my top 2018 games are primarily. I mean, I can mention a variety of games across many systems, but I'm just going to talk about PlayStation because they just have awesome exclusives.
That's one thing I will say. Xbox doesn't seem to have many going forward.
Yeah, they're shitty, dude. They're shitty on that sector.
And they don't even,
and when they do have an exclusive, it doesn't even feel like an exclusive because it still comes out on Windows 10 PC. So it's like. So it's like the PC master racers are still like, yeah, fuck you, you don't got no exclusives. So it's like
fair point.
So my top three that I'm looking forward to is God of War.
That looks
game
really
looks fucking off the
hook.
So
I'll say this. I played part 1.
Yeah.
I was really bored. Skipped part 2. Played part 3. Was really bored. Part 4. This new one looks so good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it looks so good.
Yeah, I wasn't that entertained by them, so I kind of agree with you. But I think this new one, it just looks great. So I'm hoping that they've invested. I hope they invested as much time in the story and stuff as they did into the graphics because the graphics look good. So I'm hoping they develop the story and just good gameplay, and hopefully put something good out.
I think they will. Only because this time around they have a kid, right? With him, and it looks like the kid's gonna be there the entire time, which means that they can actually have a dialogue, right? It's not just him talking to himself anymore, or not talking at all. Oh my god!
What if the kid is really him? He's just seeing him. He's hallucinating. What if the kid is never really a real character?
What if the kid's really a car?
A what?
A car?
They don't have cars in that time. What the fuck? Are you thinking about Forza again? God damn it, Roman. God.
No,
So God of War. My second game would have to be. There's so many, but Death Stranding, which is a Kojima game.
Dude, how can you say that?
What?
You don't know anything about Death Stranding.
No, but I know it's a
knows
horror.
anything.
You didn't see the second trailer?
Maybe I don't know.
They showed some stuff. No, but that's
just
what I'm
ridiculous.
saying. It looks the stuff that they showed, the fact that it's a horror game, the fact that it's Kojima,
the fact that they don't know anything about the game,
dude. I guarantee you, Death Stranding. We don't have to know anything. What we've seen so far is enough to know that this game is going to be impressive.
Really, because his last game didn't get released at all.
Silent
Hill.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but that game looked that.
It looked for that little trailer. It looked really impressive.
You know why they cut that is because he left the studio, so they're like, "Well, fuck you, I'm from whatever." Who knows what that reasoning was? But it's kind of coincidental that
I think he should come on this show and defend himself.
We wouldn't understand him, and he'd only be talking to John.
The only thing we'd understand is when he says Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima, I'm in the video game. Anyway, and then the third game, and it's actually a remake from what I don't know if they're gonna remaster it. I'm sure they're going to, but it's Shadow of the Colossus, and it came out on PlayStation 2, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
And they're bringing it back. And this is a game that I actually rented from Blockbuster back in the day when I was a kid. So
Blockbuster was
some of you might not even fucking know what Blockbuster is. It's a brick and mortar place you walk into and rent movies and video games.
Yeah, with mommy and daddy
with a membership card, and you could only get the membership card if you submitted like a utility bill and an ID.
Seriously?
Yeah. So
you
had to like give up blood and stuff. No, so I rented this game and I played maybe like 3/4 of the way through, and I loved it. And I was always heartbroken that I could never finish it. So I'm glad they're bringing it back. I'm gonna play I'll probably buy that on the release too. But I'm done. I can't wait to play that one. That's gonna be amazing.
I can't.
Kind of nostalgic. It'll bring me back to when I was a teenager, maybe. I don't know.
Actually, I feel like Sony is riding a lot on nostalgia more than anything else.
Because they're winning.
Huh?
I think they're winning on that then.
You think so? I disagree. Really? I think I like seeing new stuff more than I like nostalgia is nice, but if it doesn't take place of the new stuff, like because they have Shadow of the Colossus, right?
Yeah, but they have tons of new stuff though all the time.
Kind of. I mean, this last E3 you saw the biggest games were remakes, right? Like Shadow of the Colossus.
That's true.
They had before that they had that game with the dog and the kid that they were working on for the past 20 years. It's like a giant dog. It's like a giant dog. Or cat or whatever the hell it was. Last Guardian.
That looks like an amazing game too. I haven't played it.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. Another one. Shenmue 3, which is really like Shenmue, we don't know anything about that, but people were like, "Oh my god, we can't wait." For what? A freaking title you saw. You saw the words Shenmue 3 and nothing else. and Shenmue 2, you know what? Spoiler alert, wasn't that good. It wasn't. Neither was Shenmue 1. It was great that it gave you this open world and and some Japan to explore clumsily. Yeah. But neither one of those are really good games. I know because I played both of them, and I remember both of them I had to get jobs.
Yeah.
And those jobs, you know what they were, Victor? You literally go to work as a forklift driver. And you don't skip it. It's not a cutscene. You actually have to get in the forklift and you got to pick up product and move it around a warehouse for hours to get money.
That's funny.
Yeah. So Shenmue 3, to anybody who's looking forward to it, I'm sorry, but go somewhere else. I don't know. Go get a job as a forklift driver.
It's one of those games that like you can just do in real life. So go do.
Yeah, exactly.
like FIFA.
Like. We got some bad comments about that last video. It's not audio.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so that's your
or like Forza, because you can go out and race in real life too.
How are you gonna race a freaking Ferrari?
You have a car, right?
You can't race a Ferrari.
Hey, you start from the bottom and you work your way up like in any campaign. What the fuck? What base car do you start with Forza when you start a campaign or whatever?
Well, you pick one, but I think
it's like a Volkswagen Beetle,
something like that. I don't know,
Jetta,
something crappy.
Yeah, see, there you go. You're.
I have an electric car.
Level 1.
I can do 1 lap before the battery dies.
1 lap, no faster than 60.
Oh my god.
Welcome back.
That's it? That's all you got. So welcome back.
Don't cut John off. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, John.
No. So welcome back, guys. We're going to continue our discussion about what we like about games, as always. I represent the PlayStation side because I'm a PlayStation guy, and Roman loves his Xbox. Even though
what does John like? John? John likes ass.
Yeah? What?
Can we say that?
I was trying to edit that out. So one thing I wanted to talk about is what makes a good multiplayer, an online multiplayer shooter. And the reason I bring this up is because a game that just released its own multiplayer, which is, again, Ghost Recon Wildlands, multiplayer 4-on-4. And, I was really looking forward to this. I thought you were maybe looking forward to it as well, Roman.
I was. Yeah, what's a
and
lot?
I thought it was going to be pretty fun. I mean, I didn't play the beta, but when it did get released, I got on that, and it's very limited. It's one game style, 4 on 4. It's very slow paced, and you have to have a lot of patience because you don't have respawns because there's only one play style or one game mode, which is one death, one kill, no respawns. Which you have to have a lot of patience. Otherwise, when I was playing it, most of the time people were leaving the match once they died, because then you'd be waiting there another, you know, however long the match is. You'd be waiting there till
How long's the match last?
it varied. I mean, I played 4 or 5 rounds of it, and sometimes I was sitting there a couple minutes. Sometimes I lasted longer, so I wasn't waiting that long. But for other people who did wait, they'd be waiting a long time just to play again.
And even a couple of minutes is a long time in video game world, right? Because
Yeah.
you play Call of Duty and you're out for maybe 2-3 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're right back in.
Yeah, and I think a lot of gamers have that adrenaline hitch, especially the young gamers. They want that continuous, go, 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 go. So I was a little disappointed. Not that I'm that kind of gamer, because I'm not, but I was still disappointed with Ghost Recon Wildlands. And it made me think, well, what makes a good, for us personally, what makes a good online shooter? And I think there's a lot of elements that, you have to have. Not every game has to have them all, but I think every game has to have a bulk of them to really be a good online shooter that makes you come back for more, to play it for, maybe years, like a game like Battlefield 4, or a grand game for those Call of Duty players who just like playing Call of Duty. They're always coming back to Call of Duty. So what is it that, makes you like online shooters, Roman?
So I would say one of the key components to any good game, but especially like a multiplayer game where each match, instead of being invested in the story and going through a quest that could last an hour or two, you have to have a very small, almost like a vertical slice of a game
Mm-hmm.
that you play very quickly for a short amount of time. Could be 5 minutes, could be 30 minutes, right? Maybe even longer sometimes. But I think one of the more important things is options and variety. And
Yeah.
do you remember, this issue just got me thinking, have you ever played Perfect Dark back in Nintendo 64?
Perfect Dark. I can't say I remember that I have.
So I was thinking about that, and that game was insane when it came to options and variety. First of all, it had a ton of maps. I don't remember how many exactly, but it had a lot of maps. But what was really great about it was that, and this was back before the internet, or at least in gaming, and so you had to play with your friends. But there were so many possible options. One, you could select what type of weapons you want to play with, right? You could select what type of map it was.
Mm-hmm.
You could select the rule type, so you could set like each person's health. But beyond that, they had
wow.
really cool things, like they had bots you could put into the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you might turn that off because the volume might be capturing the mic, even though we don't hear it.
Yeah.
Just if you silence. Okay. Anyway, back to our show. He was just trying to pull up a YouTube video, and I'm not sure if you can hear on the mic or not because we're not super pros yet. But
it's a very well produced show.
Yep.
If you haven't gathered by now.
and so in that game you could set up bots, and to each bot you could assign a difficulty setting, like each individual bot, and you could set up a bunch of different bots. But beyond that, to each bot you could assign a personality, so you can make him aggressive, you can make him defensive, you can make him pacifist. I mean, there was, and that's just scraping the very surface of how complex this multiplayer was. And looking back, I don't think there's been a single other multiplayer shooter that's even tried to come close to tackling the complexity of Perfect Dark.
Yeah, I can't say I played Perfect Dark, so I don't know, but it sounds pretty complex when you're playing that.
It was so good.
So you have to host the match.
Because you were all together, right? You were all like in front of one screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really fun game. But as far as like shooters in general, I think what I would do is I would have to delegate this to the Bungie philosophy, where their form of development is to make a fun 5-second stretch of gameplay and then map it out over a level. So what they do, I think it's like 30 seconds. I think they focus on 30 seconds of gameplay. And so the idea is that you come into an encounter with enemies, whether it's a multiplayer or single player, and for the 30 seconds that you encounter these bad guys before you kill them or they kill you, is it fun? And if it is, you expand that throughout a level. And so, really, in a Bungie game, it's not so much that there's all these different things happening. It's 30 seconds of fun, then 30 seconds of fun, then 30 seconds of fun, and 30 seconds of fun until all of a sudden you have a full match. And I think that's what makes a fun game. Is like you have to focus on a certain small part of an encounter in a game, and you expand upon that. And in Ghost Recon, I think they nailed that actually. I think with the single player at least, right, or the co-op where we played, their issue is that there isn't any variety.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Because it's the same thing again and again and again. Steal this helicopter 17 times.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely no variety in Ghost Recon Wildlands. I mean, like I said, it's one game mode, which is 4-on-4, no respawn, best out of 3. Each match is like 8 minutes or depending on what you set it to. So it's like there's no variety. That's why I was greatly, and they could add something later. You know, they could give an update and add a different game mode, which is, you know, likely because some game developers do that, but it can also be unlikely that they'll add something because you would have thought that they would have added it at the same time, at least for me.
What do you think? What do you think is the best, or at least your favorite multiplayer shooter ever?
Oh man, I would have to say Battlefield.
Which one?
And probably Battlefield 4 specifically. That was probably the funnest.
I disagree.
Really?
Battlefield 3.
Oh.
Still Battlefield, but only because. So Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 are super close.
I think they were the same almost.
Yeah, the major difference, I would agree. They were almost the same. The major difference between them, for me, was that in Battlefield 3, I really liked how the planes handled. I didn't like it in 4 at all. So I stayed away from planes. Everything else
I stayed away from aircraft anyway because I fucking suck at I suck at flying aircraft in every single video game. It does not fucking matter what game I am playing. I fucking suck at aircraft. It's ridiculous. I have a curse.
I'm like that guy in what was that movie? Independence Day. Where he's like, I belong in the sky. Or whatever the hell he said.
You always seem to manage very well. But I'm horrible. No matter, it doesn't matter. Most games have different mechanics, but it doesn't matter. I just fucking suck.
But what was great about Battlefield 3 or 4 is that one, there's the sense of progression, right? You're constantly unlocking new things, whether it's new guns, whether it's new equipment, new auxiliary items for guns like scopes and not rocket launchers, but like the undermount grenade launchers or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's 2, which is really interesting maps. Like, there's such a huge variety, especially if you get the DLC for one of those games. There's snow levels, there's desert levels. The DLC is
always worth those games.
Except for Battlefield 1, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we don't know. We didn't play the Battlefield DLC in that, but...
Sorry for any of you that love Battlefield 1, but we just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Being hardcore Battlefield fans, we did not get
I thought I would really enjoy it. I thought I would, but like you say, in for us, Battlefield 1 has that issue of lack of content, which I think, in which you just stated, is what you need.
The progression specifically.
Progression. Like you need to continue to progress to achieve things, unlock things, receive things. And I don't think Battlefield 1 really has that. And really, I think overall it lacks content. So Battlefield 4, I mean, there's just a vast variety of vehicles, guns, and even the map. Even the map, when you're playing in the environment, you have that sense of progression because it's so vast. It's like you're almost playing. Some players play in one area of the map, pretty much the whole fucking map. Yeah. You know, some players are, because they're so big, you can do that. But luckily, I love Battlefield because they're so big, so I can play across the whole map throughout the match, and have that sense of progression where you're conquering this vast territory rather than Call of Duty where you're in these close quarters at all times. I mean, virtually that's every map on Call of Duty for me. So that's why I prefer Battlefield 4. That's why I like that style of multiplayer online shooter.
And the Battlefield series, one thing it does really well is that I think it's the only multiplayer shooter series where it incorporates different playstyles. Where you can just be the gun hose guy that goes in and tries to shoot everybody up. Where
a different class actually matters.
Yeah, but you could also, like, even for instance, if you play as a sniper or whatever, but you could also play in a totally different style of play where instead of just going and shooting, because the objective in the most popular game type is taking over flags, right? Taking over areas.
Mm-hmm.
So you could play as a stealthy version, right? Where you're, instead of focusing on shooting, you could focus on just taking over these checkpoints while the enemies and your team is focusing on other areas in the map.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a stealth element to it, which you really never really see in shooter games at all.
Yeah.
And so I'd say, like, as far as like what makes a great multiplayer game is, one is there's the variety, right? There's good maps. There's I don't know how to put this. Like, I guess I see it's just the teamwork I think is really nice in multiplayer shooters that you don't get very often, especially if you play with friends. And there's the gameplay itself, which is paramount, right? Which the game has to nail if it's going to be a shooter.
Anyway, so the next thing I kind of wanted to touch on is, you know, how important is a story or cinematics in a video game for you personally? Like, do you require a good, well-written story or cinematics to help you even finish the game? Because I know some, you know, a lot of games, a lot of players might lose interest because they're not grabbed by it, and I think a lack of story or cinematic might be part of that. I mean, how do you feel? I mean, do you think that you enjoy games with a good story, or do you think if the gameplay is just so fun, it'll be a standalone on its own and you'll finish it regardless and you'll like it?
So, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna answer this in the same way that John Carmack answered this question when he was asked, and what he said was, story in a game is like story in a porn movie. It's expected to be there, but it's not that important. But no, that's an actual quote.
Well, that puts it pretty blunt.
No, I'm just kidding.
And who is this guy that quoted
John Carmack?
And who is this for the listeners?
He invented he's the guy behind Doom. He's the guy behind Rage. He's the guy behind Wolfenstein. He's now working on Oculus. I think he's a major player there. But yeah. Anyway, but I disagree with him. I think story is monumental in games. It's not always necessary, and I can enjoy a game without a story, but I always like a game with a story. And case in point is, what the hell is it called? The game with the guy and the girl, The Last of Us.
Oh, The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. So that game has pretty bad gameplay, I would say.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it does.
You're like the only person that's ever played that would say that.
Gameplay wise, you walk around a lot. You have bad stealth mechanics, which relative to Splinter Cell or relative to Metal Gear Solid, right? It wouldn't hold up at all if it was just those two games side by side. It has not so great shooting, again, relative to, like, say, another third person like Gears of War or Ghost Recon or the Division. Wouldn't stand up at all. The only thing this game has is a story, and the story is masterful.
Yeah.
And I hate to admit it because it's a PlayStation game, but it is probably the single best story I've ever seen in a video game.
Yeah, I think it is.
Except for the end. The end sucked.
The end? No, dude. The end was amazing.
The
end ended perfectly. I
think. They
think.
live happily ever after in some freaking cul-de-sac.
No.
In the suburbs. Yeah, that was bullshit.
they'll you know, the story will continue in The Last of Us 2, and I think it'll be just. I hope it'll be just as good. But there's no doubt that game is amazing. That story is very well. I mean, it's written by Naughty Dog, which did Uncharted. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Yeah, I mean, they just write.
Which did Ratchet and Clank. Amazing story.
It is an awesome story. No, I mean that game is just very well written, and that's for me. Most games have to have a story supplemented with some cinematics every now and then. Not a lot. I don't like a lot of cinematics. I like some periodically, but most importantly, I like a story. If a game doesn't have a good story that's going to capture me to keep me going, I will most likely not finish it. But there are some games that just the gameplay is so fun that I will continue and finish it even though lack of story. For example, The Evil Within 1. I couldn't tell you what the hell that story was all about. For all I know, it could have been. I mean, I don't know. I just don't remember the story at all. It wasn't very capturing, but the gameplay was so fun that I finished that game. So for me, I have to have a story to grab me. Like, for example, Skyrim, amazing game, but I didn't finish it because there really wasn't a story there. I mean, there's a story, but there's not any cinematic. There's nothing to really. There's no visual like fireworks for you to see. It's just like Skyrim is constant dialogue.
So, did you finish Ocarina of Time?
Ocarina of Time, yes.
Was that a good story?
Horrible story.
Yeah, and every single Zelda, Zelda is the exact same story.
But when I played Ocarina of Time, I was a child. I mean, the last time I played that, I was, 13, 14.
You might not like the new Zelda because 15? The storyline there is this.
Well, you
wake up
exploring the princess. I mean, capturing, saving the princess. Yeah, you
explore the princess in a very sexual way.
After you explore the princess, you will save her.
You explore the princess, and after that, you go and explore Ganon.
What?
For all the we gotta be politically correct now. We can't let the gays out. Oh, let the gays out. Leave the gays out.
Oh my God!
Don't let the gays out.
Oh my God! Should I edit that part out?
No, leave that in. This is a no held bars podcast. No bars held. Whatever. Anyway.
Anyway.
So, but I agree. I think story is very, very important in the game. It won't always hold me back. I plan to play Mario. You're welcome, John. It's just for you. But I plan to play Mario on an airplane just because I know that I don't have to pay attention to the storyline. But because actually coming up in December, I have a really long flight into Costa Rica, and so I plan to just sit there in the airplane and just play Mario for 18 hours or however long it takes.
Mario Odyssey?
The new one, yeah.
Is it even out yet?
No. It comes out end of October, so I think it's out this upcoming week actually.
I think I actually have that down. Yeah.
But so story I think is important, but it's not. It won't make it will make a game. It won't break it. Like Halo 5.
Yeah, you're right. A story can't break a game, but it would definitely make a game. Yeah.
Like I said, Halo 5 is a key example of this, where the storyline was Cortana coming back to life, betraying you. There was a black guy that you fought against, and you had a team of Spartans out of nowhere, which all the previous Halo games didn't have, and that was pretty much it. Very confusing. A lot of pieces missed, but the gameplay was so tight and so well done. It was so pretty, especially the multiplayer was... Man, that Halo 5 is one of those rare games where, as you're playing it, if you mess up, you know it's your fault and nobody else's. Right? It's not the game lagging. It's not some mechanic not working right. Like Halo 5, gameplay-wise, is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But story-wise, what happened?
Yeah, that game is very gameplay driven, and they have some cool cinematics. The story is kind of loose up in the air most of the time. You really don't know what's going on. You kind of maybe catch the beginning and the end, but really you're just focused on the gameplay, the shooting, the action, the going forward and killing the Covenant and all that stuff. So,
do you remember upcoming to the release of Halo 5, they had that web series where there's a reporter talking about that was so good.
That was so good.
Why couldn't that be the story?
Oh my God,
man! Yeah. I thought that based on that, I was like, the story's gonna be.
That's
amazing.
Like a side story. That's like a side story to the actual main story, and that story is more amazing. Like they should have more. They should have just had her voiceover.
There's a guy.
Was it?
There's a guy. Well, at least to start, I think it became a girl later.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The first season, it was a guy. The second, there's only 3 seasons out, right?
There's 3.
There's 2. There's 2.
Oh,
there's 2.
Well, I don't know, but yeah.
But anyway, they should have had those voiceovers from that audio series play throughout the game with just
while you're playing, like in multiplayer,
for the cinematics, just have like a nice concept art, scrolling across the screen as the voiceover of that voice series plays. Or something like that.
That was so much better than the actual story of the game.
Yeah, I hope they continue. I don't think they're going to, because I haven't seen a new series, but
well, each Halo had a really cool marketing campaign behind it. So because I think Halo 3, before that came out, they did an actual live before as Halo 4 came out, they had a live series episode thing. Halo 3, same thing, and they were both all really good. Actually, Halo 5 did too. Before it came out, they had Forward Unto Dawn, which wasn't very good, but it was there.
Yeah, I only saw a little bit of it. It looked well filmed.
Yeah.
But I really didn't catch much of the story. Anyway,
Yeah. Moving on.
moving on. What were we talking about?
So we got story. We got the multiplayer part down. We got the games coming.
Oh, reminding me of the multiplayer part with The Last of Us. That The Last of Us multiplayer
Sucks.
is so fun. It's so fun. Like I still play that probably four days out of the week, every week. Like I guarantee you, if you played this multiplayer, you would enjoy it just as much too. And it's 4-on-4, but they have different game modes. They have your traditional respawn, with the ticket counter of lives, the one that the team that uses up all their tickets, end a match, blah blah blah. And then they have their 4-on-4, one life per character. When your team is killed, that's it. But it's so fun with the way you play. You play across these, smaller, mid-sized maps, scattered with these toolboxes, and it forces you to play as you're playing. You have
toolboxes. What are the toolboxes for?
Toolboxes just have miscellaneous materials for crafting, and so
you craft in the multiplayer game.
You craft as you're playing the multiplayer game. So you can't unlock anything special. You can buy some DLC, but I've encountered that not many people have bought it because they just use the regular in-house settings or whatever. And it forces you to move across the map because that's how you gain your resources to continue fighting with bullets or bombs or crafting material. I mean, that multiplayer game is so fun, and I never have a problem getting into a room. As soon as I put join match, I'm like in within seconds almost. So it definitely feels like it's still a very popular game that people are going to continue to play, especially once Last of Us 2 comes out. I hope that multiplayer is just as good, if not better, more advanced, and that kind of gameplay is a very successful multiplayer shooter for me.
I never played it, so
yeah,
but I don't intend to.
Like Halo was a successful multiplayer shooter, I think. Even though it was very, it can be compared to in the same style of Call of Duty, I think. Fast paced, intense, in and out, short spot, quick spawn.
Oh yeah, in that sense, absolutely.
Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think the only difference, not the only difference, there's a lot of differences, right? If you get into nuances, but the main difference between Halo multiplayer and Call of Duty is that, there's a few, but the one that sticks out of my mind is that in Call of Duty, if you get the first shot on somebody, you're gonna kill them, right? Because it takes like 2 or 3 bullets to kill somebody.
Yeah.
In Halo, there's always a chance that you can come back.
Yeah. Yeah, in Halo, you have to unload your whole clip to take a guy down.
Yeah, because you got the
either that or we do suck at Halo, so there's no doubt about that. So maybe maybe a more skilled player can down a player in half a clip, but
I think with a DMR, like a really skilled player can do it in 3 shots, right?
Oh yeah,
3.
I think they can do it in 2.
Or is it 2?
I think it's 2. If you're doing the head, you can do 2 for sure.
Whatever.
But there's fucking players that good, but.
Have you ever seen any of those pro players play? Like they show on the Xbox, they have those like specials.
Well, I saw. No, not the pro players. I saw the developer players play. When the developers are creating it, they have their own team that tested multiplayer. I saw them play, and oh my god, dude, they who can even stand? Like, why don't they play in the tournament?
I don't know.
Or do they?
But dude, so Xbox, on the actual system, right? If you turn it on, sometimes they'll have the pro series for this game, They just show it, right? And I happen to see one for Halo. Holy crap, those guys are so good. Like the way they move is so different from the way we move. They're fluid. Like whereas we kind of jerk around left and right, we kind of try to decide where to go. These guys, imagine like how water would move through a level. That's how these guys move. I don't know how else to describe it. They're these their skills are so honed to this one activity, and that one activity is dominating in a Halo match. It's insane.
That's crazy.
Okay, but anyway, so moving on to our final subject for the night. And I want to talk about something that's very dear and close to my heart, and so many players out there hate, and so many magazines and reviewers and websites don't like either. But I want to talk about the Xbox Kinect.
The shitty device that came along with the shitty Xbox?
Exactly.
Nice.
No. So, the Kinect, for anyone who doesn't know, Kinect is a camera sensor. And people might not know because it doesn't even come with the Kinect with the Xbox anymore, right? And if you're buying the S or the X that's about to come out within a couple of weeks now, there's no port you can plug it into. But the Kinect is this camera system that you place on top of your TV stand or your Xbox or your TV or wherever you want to put it, and this camera has a whole wealth of features. It can detect your heart rate. It's a 1080p camera, a night vision, voice command, facial recognition, body tracking, everything, right? And the way I use it is I don't use it for games at all because most games, I mean, developers just don't support it. But what's great about it is like once I turn my Xbox on, the Kinect recognizes my face and it knows who's logged in. If my girlfriend sits next to me, she comes in the room, she sits down next to me, the Xbox automatically logs her in because it recognizes her face. That's pretty freaking cool. But beyond that,
at the same time you'll be logged in?
Yeah, we'll both be logged in at the same time.
Huh.
It's really cool.
That's not cool. That's a little creepy. Hey, we know you're fucking here. We're staring at you. Kind of Skynet type of stuff.
Yes. So
great.
And that leads into some issues.
No
right?
wonder I leave mine disconnected.
Yeah, and that leads to some issues. Like one is obviously there's the whole issue of privacy, which I don't think anybody really felt 100% comfortable with, even though Microsoft has promised a million times they're not watching you. And to be fair, think about this, you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Would you waste your time watching some overweight guy in his underwear sitting in his living room? Probably not.
That's your stereotypical Xbox player, in case you're wondering, obviously. And if you're wondering, yes, Roman is overweight, and he actually lives in the basement.
My God, they let me out for this one podcast and nothing else. And they put me right back in.
If you listen to the podcast one, we did it in the basement where he lives. Actually, there's nothing.
And so obviously there were some issues with it, right? There's a whole privacy thing. There's the voice doesn't always work like it should.
Yeah.
Body tracking doesn't work like it should, and developers just didn't support it, even when it was in its heyday, even when it was required. Like I remember, there was a Ghost Recon game, not this last one, the one before that, where the one feature in the Ghost Recon game was if you look at your gun, you could spread your arms towards the TV like you're about to fly to expand the parts of the gun. And you could contract it, and that was pretty much it.
And that was it.
But here's the worst part: is that it had such bad lag, so that if you'd spread your arm, you'd wait, and you'd wait, and you'd wait, and then the gun would expand. And
see, that's the problem with the Xbox. If they would just invest their money in a technology like that, rather than trying to make it a multimedia home device for your family, then maybe they'd get somewhere with it.
So here's what I was thinking, is the last part is this. How can the Xbox save Kinect? And maybe not save it, but how can they reinvent it? Yeah. How can they reinvigorate it to where people, maybe not even just players, but people in general can use it? And see, here's what I was thinking, was that right now what's really big is the Alexa, right? The Amazon's voice assistant. There's the Google voice assistant. And then there's somebody else, I forget what, another third party that's making a voice assistant. What if the Kinect, it ditched the camera, it ditched the expensive hardware, and it became a voice assistant. And it ditched the wire that has to link to the Xbox, right? But it was still linked to the Xbox via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever. Yeah. So you could put it somewhere else in your house. But it was still the Kinect, right? It still had the Cortana AI, which I think is the best AI of any of them, which is better than Google. I think it's better than Amazon's, because I have the Echo at home, right? And I played with the Google one somewhat. But I think Cortana is the most competent of the AIs. So they used that part and they made it more generalized, especially with Microsoft and Amazon having that deal where they have their two AIs, Alexa and Cortana, being able to communicate with each other, and work off of So now the Alexa can have Cortana. Wow. I don't know if that's available yet, but I know that it's in the works. They announced their partnership.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good idea. Like, they should just ditch the camera entirely.
Yeah, make it way cheaper.
Like, what is the point of the camera anyway?
To spy on gamers in their underwear.
Exactly.
Nothing else.
Like the camera is old technology. They're already trying to go into virtual reality, VR.
So augmented reality.
Or augmented reality. So the camera is like not even a useful tool anymore. So they should ditch that. Advance the microphone, the technology to communicate with it, like you say. And I think that's the problem with the Kinect, is that one, it's slow. Like you can do what you want to do faster off the controller than you can with your voice. And I think that's one of the main problems. The technology is too slow, and I think because they're using a cheaper technology to be able to afford to put it into the system. I'm sure there's better, obviously, Alexa, Google. I think those assistant technologies are better, faster reacting, and
Alexa
more
works so
and
well.
yeah, and
So
more
well.
expensive, which wouldn't make it financially feasible for Microsoft to put it in their system. So they use a cheaper technology, which just doesn't make it useful. It's just pointless.
Yeah. So like, what I was thinking was that one, like you make this the Kinect, like just like Victor said, you remove the camera and you make it just the voice activated speaker, right, or the voice activated system. And if you remove the cord, you can put it somewhere else in your house. So let's say like if you're playing in your living room, maybe the Kinect sits in your dining room. That way, if you actually talk to it, it's no longer competing with the speakers in your TV or your surround system. And I think that maybe that's causing some of the problems where the Kinect can't always hear you because I mean, there's like a million explosions going on. There's soldiers yelling at you on your TV saying, "Get over here, give me some ammo," or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like all of a sudden that now that the thing's further away, so it can actually hear your voice.
Yeah.
And you incorporate features into it that maybe react to Amazon, right? Where you could buy things with it. But what's great about this is if you do this, then all of a sudden like your mom or your girlfriend or I don't know if you live with your uncle or something, like these people that maybe aren't traditional gamers start interacting with the Kinect. And they start interacting in a sense with the Xbox, and maybe Microsoft sneaks in some features in there, like say.
So Microsoft is gonna listen to this and steal your idea and make billions off of it. Why are you giving it away,
dude? Because I believe in the system. I believe in the system.
No, yeah.
And then so what happens is this. Like check this out. Like imagine you're not a gamer, right? And you're somebody but you shop online and or you look at stuff and like. You're planning a trip, right? And you're asking, you get excited, so you're asking things about the places you're gonna go. Like, say you're gonna go to I don't know, some tropical Hawaii, right? Say you're going to Hawaii, like, so you start asking, like, what's a great place to go to Hawaii? What's the weather like in Hawaii?
Wait, so you're saying this can travel with you?
No, it doesn't have to travel with you, but it can tell you things about it, just like Alexa does.
Oh,
or it can tell you different things about this place, right? Because it searches the internet.
Yeah.
And then as you're doing this, the system learns and it knows, like, okay, so if you like tropical places, that's where you're going to, that's where you're excited about.
Yeah. And
it can recommend games based on that. It's like, so, hey, since you like this, maybe you like a game like Ghost Recon that's set in a tropical location. Yeah. And the reason I think that is because this is the reason that Shirley, my girlfriend, right, the reason she started playing Ghost Recon is because she saw it. She's like, that's a really pretty place. I want to play that game. And the system could actually bring gamers in that way by saying, hey, maybe since you like this, maybe you want to try this game out. If you're looking for like car documentaries, maybe you like Forza. If you're looking at gun magazines and or whatever.
Or what if you're like ordering coloring books for your child, and then it's like, oh, you want to play Zelda?
Or Zelda, or maybe Cuphead, a hand drawn game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could actually bring gamers in organically.
It can bring gamers in by their interests in other things, but that you can find in gaming.
Exactly. So people aren't using it as a gaming machine, and yet it leads them to the gaming machine. Dude, actually, you know what? Scratch that, Microsoft. We're gonna take this idea and make our own.
Everything we said is patent pending, trademark, and copyrighted as of this October 20th, 9:47 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
We got a patent like that, just like that.
Let's say patent pending. It's pending.
Oh, patent pending. Oh my god.
I'm typing it up right now. No, yeah, I think they definitely need to just advance it. I think it would be good since they are trying to make it into a multimedia device.
Yeah, right.
That's like the only logical thing. The next step. Like, what else are they gonna do? There's really nothing else you can do to it. That's the next thing, because that's where assistants are the new age technology, I guess, for all homes.
Yeah. So,
damn, we're gonna become millionaires once we
patent it.
Patent it. Once this patent's not pending and pitch our idea. Anyway, well, I think that concludes our episode of PAXP, episode 2 with Victor and
Roman. And oh shit, we're to John. John, what do you think of the Xbox Kinect? You don't even know what the fuck that is. Okay, moving on.
God damn it, John. Anyway, well, thanks for tuning in, and hope to catch you next week. Peace out.
See ya.